All right, guys, welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about a new topic called solving by factoring day one. Now, it turns out this is actually pretty similar to what we were working on yesterday, which is good, but it's going to get a little bit harder. So, in this situation, we still have two things that are being multiplied together. We have this first piece, and we also have the second piece. One of the differences between yesterday and today is that we don't always need to have parentheses around everything. Now, if you notice, just like we did yesterday, what we're going to do today is we're going to take each piece, negative 8x, and we're going to set it equal to 0. And we're going to do the same with the other one. X plus 2 equals 0. Now, yesterday, we were only getting problems like the green one here. And in the green one, all we had to do was just to get rid of the 2, and we found out x was equal to negative 2, and that was our answer. Now, in the orange one, we're going to have to do work a little differently. We still want to get x alone, but right now, 8 is hooked on there by multiplication. So to unhook it, we're going to divide both sides by negative 8. These two go away, and we're left with x equals. Now, if you don't know the answer to that, don't be afraid to punch it in on your calculator. 0 divided by negative 8 is 0, which means that is our answer. So it's very much, it goes the same way as what we have been doing, but it's just a little bit more complicated in terms of the actual math we're doing to solve it. Let's look at another one. So here's another one. So we're going to take this term, 4x, we're going to set it equal to 0. And then we're going to take this term, x plus 9, and we're going to set up a new equation and set it equal to 0. Now, to solve the first one, we got to get x alone. Since it's hooked on there by multiplication, we are going to divide to unhook it. So that's going to give me x equals 0 divided by 4 is just 0. So that's going to be our first answer. On the other equation, x plus 9, to undo adding 9, we need to subtract 9. And that's going to leave us with x equals negative 9. And that will be our final answer. Nice job. Let's look at another one. So here's another one. Any piece that has an x in it, we got to set up and do that separate equation. So we're going to have negative 6x, and we always say equals 0. And on the other one, we're going to say x minus 3 equals 0. Now, we just need to solve. To solve the first one, it's hooked on there by multiplication, so to unhook it, we are going to divide. So we're going to divide by negative 6 and divide by negative 6. These two cancel out, and we're just left with x equals 0 divided by negative 6 is just negative 6. Is just 0. Whoa, silly block. Make sure you're using a calculator if you're not sure. We don't want to make any simple mistakes, right? Now, if we look at the green one, to get x alone, we subtracted 3 initially. So let's add 3 to both of them to get this to cancel. And that's going to leave me with x equals positive 3. Nice job. Let's look at another problem. Now, in this one, looks like we are back to having two sets of parentheses like we had yesterday. Excuse me. If we look at the first set, we're just going to take whatever's inside, 2x minus 2, and we're going to set it equal to 0. And then, for the other one, we're going to do the same thing. So 3x plus 15 equals 0. Now, these are a little bit more complicated than the ones we were solving yesterday, but we should still be able to handle it. First thing we want to do, always get rid of the piece that's added or subtracted first. So we're going to be left with 2x is equal to 2. And then to solve this, divide by 2 and divide by 2. And we find out 2 divided by 2 is just equal to 1, which will be our answer. Nice job. Now let's look at the other one. So if I have 3x plus 15 equals 0, again, the first piece to get rid of is the 15. Since it's a plus 15, we want a minus 15 to both sides. 0 take away 15 is negative 15, and our 3x is just going to drop down since those 15s canceled out. Now, 3 is hooked on there by multiplication, so now is when we want to divide. We always want to divide that off last. These two cancel off. I'm going to be left with x equals negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5, which will be our answer for that one. Nice job, guys. Let's take a look at another one. So same situation here. When you come over there, we're going to set up two separate equations. One for this one, so we're going to take whatever's inside and say equals 0, and one for the other one. So 5x minus 10 equals 0. Now, your job is just to solve. So to solve this, you want to subtract 2 from both sides. These two cancel off. That's going to leave us with 4x is equal to a negative 2. And then we just need to divide by 4 and divide by 4. And when we do that, x is equal to negative 0.5. And that's going to be our answer. Now, it's kind of weird that we got a decimal, but it doesn't mean we did anything wrong. Let's go to the next one. To solve the next one, the first thing we are going to do is add 10 to both sides. When I do that, I'm just going to be left with 5x. 0 plus 10 is 10. And then I'm going to divide by 5 and divide by 5, which means x is equal to 10 divided by 5 is just 2. So 2 is our answer. Let's do one more problem together. So let's go over to this one, and then you guys can get started on your homework. So when I look at this one's really unique. Notice we have three parts: the green part, the orange part, and the pink part. Each of those parts has an x in it, so we got to set up a separate equation for each one. So the green part, we're just going to have 2x equals 0. For the orange part, we're just going to get x plus 3 equals 0. And then for the pink part, we're going to have 6x minus 4 equals 0. Now, we just need to solve each of those equations, right? It's just three separate equations. So for the first one, to get x alone, it's hooked together by multiplication. So if we want to divide off the 2, so divide both sides by 2, and that's going to leave you with x all by itself. 0 divided by 2 is just 0. And we're done. Nice job. Let's look at the next one. In this one, we have x plus 3. Since we added 3, we want to unhook it by minusing 3. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. These two cancel off, and I'm going to be left with x equals negative 3.
Hello? Huh?
All right, sorry about that, guys. I had a kid pop in to my Google Meet to ask a question. So let's just continue. So over here, we just solved this, and we figured out x is equal to 3. Now, for the pink equation, it's going to take a little bit more work, but it's going to be the same process. First thing we want to do is add 4 to both sides. These two are going to cancel off. That's going to leave us with 6x is equal to 4. Now, we still want to get x alone, so we want to divide by 6 and divide by 6. And when we do that, we find out that x is equal to 2/3. Or I should just say, let's just say 4 divided by 6. We'll punch it out on our calculator. So 4 divided by 6 will just be 0.66. And that's good enough for us. So we'll take that as our answer for this question. Now, the rest of your time today is going to be spent working on some practice problems. So here's some practice problems. Remember, if you solve this piece, make sure you put that answer in the blue spot. And then when you solve the red piece, make sure you put it in the red spot. Thank you guys so much for watching the full video. If you have any questions, please make sure you reach out and ask. Thanks, guys.